And we want to share with other people, if you haven't trapped yourself into those kind of lifestyle,
There's a way out.
There's a way out.
Hi guys, welcome to Sarah and Saj. Thanks for watching. Please like this video, share this video, and subscribe.
Hi guys. Welcome to
again
Dr. Sarah and Sarge.
Yes, and today we have another exciting topic that we want to cover today, and we hope you are going to learn a lot and practice.
This topic is so important for especially for our culture. And it's basically how to live within your means.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I work in finance field, so I see a lot of people are in bad financial situations, and we ask the same questions to everyone. How much is your mortgage? How much is your car payment? And how much do you bring in each month? It's so amazing how much people's home payment is just as much as their car payment. In other words, they're paying basically two mortgages because they're living outside of their means. We live in a country where we want to flex, we want to show what we're worth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a huge temptation for a lot of us. No one is exempt from feeling that pressure of wanting to show people what they have, especially in this Facebook society we live in. We just wanted to talk about this aspect because it really is hurting a lot of people. And we just want to remind you to reflect and see what is the reason you're overextending yourself.
Yes, it is very true, because we all know what we call American dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And when I get here, one of the things that really surprised me is that everything in America is big. I have never been in Europe, but I do hear that things there are small, even the meals when they go out. But here, everything tend to
Super
be
size.
Exactly. So, and then also with the system of credits, and we kind of fall into temptation of buying something of the credit, and you could not afford it. It's something that we all learn after we make a mistake, and you're like, oh, I wish I can, take back the hands of time and just change some of the decisions I made, because those services were available. But I have heard somebody who say that if you cannot afford something without a credit card, don't buy it. But sometimes we just feel like, oh, the credits are there, so I can buy it now and pay a little. So if you cannot really afford it without that credit card, it means you shouldn't get that thing. And that's what we are trying to say. Another thing I want to mention before we can give you tips on a few tips, because I know we have a lot, and I know you may have some there too that you are willing to share. We know this saying that knowledge is power, but when knowledge is there and we're not using it, how is that a power? Sometimes I don't think that having a knowledge and not using it is a power. It's a beautiful, a powerful information, but it becomes power when you use it. So without further ado,
let us learn how not to play keeping up with the Joneses.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little bit about the Jones saying? I do hear that a lot in America.
Joneses is basically you have a neighbor who just got his lawn done. Now you got to get yours done. He just bought a new car. Now you got to buy a new car.
Oh, so you remind me of a neighbor just bought a car, so we got to get one.
People really, really live like this.
Uh-huh.
We're not trying to make light of it. We're trying to educate and remind you that there's no competition.
Exactly.
It's really, your self-worth is not measured by the things that you buy.
Yes.
Right? Your self-worth is not predicated on what type of house you own.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes we forget that at the end of the day, when you go home after showing off what you have, and
stressed out.
Exactly, you're living your individual life. it is beautiful to succeed. It's beautiful to have good things. It's a beautiful, no, there's nobody who doesn't want to have good things. But is it smart to get something you cannot afford now and live a stressful life, or have some like practical goals and achieve that within 3 or 4 years and live happily? That's what we are trying to say. And so we have
let
few
me
tips.
just say something before we go on to this.
Okay.
There's a reason places like Rent-A-Center and Aaron's are in communities that are not financially stable or educated.
Or free. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's a huge temptation. You get look at this, I can get this couch for $10 a month.
Mhm.
But what you don't realize is say the couch is $1,000. By the time it's over, you paid $3,000 for it.
Yep.
And so
and sometimes when you cannot even afford it in the middle, you lose everything.
Yeah,
the
and
money
then they
you put
come in and
down,
get it.
and yeah.
So we're just trying to help people from making these mistakes and from understanding that their real value is not in things.
Some things.
Yeah.
And also as like a believers, those who follow us, that we believe. Even the Bible discourages loans. But American has made it as if like it's the only option. We are not saying you cannot take a loan, but it has to be the last option, like the necessity. But most of the loans or the credits we end up in, they are not really necessary. It's just like a bad choices. And then when we suffer the consequences, we always blame something, but we have to examine ourselves. Okay.
See, and then what we end up doing is becoming slaves to our things. In other words, like we're just living to pay bills, and we get caught in this rat race of life. Yes, I got a nice car, I got a nice house, but I can't lose my job. I can't take a chance on following what I truly want to do. I'm stuck at this 9 to 5.
And sometimes like with one or with more than one job to sustain that lifestyle you want. And at the end of the day, the people you're claiming to be helping, they're not seeing you, and sometimes we wonder why sometimes even our families end up getting destroyed because you're not there as a mother or as a father or a caregiver. You're not there because kids don't see you. You are gone for 2 or 3 jobs just to live the life you cannot afford right now.
What mattered to you 10 years ago? Does that still matter to you today? Or is that car in a junkyard somewhere? That car meant so much to you at that time. And in the end, they all end the same way, in a junkyard. Or someone else is driving your stuff now.
Oh, yeah. We're going to give you 3 tips today. Maybe tomorrow, another day, we're going to cover like a couple more. And if you have any other tips that has been working for you, please share it, and, so other people can get benefit from your whatever is working for you. The first one is to know your income and your expenses. Most of the time, the reason why we fall into temptation, we don't sit down and really know as at the beginning, my husband mentioned that he works in finances. And when people are in a bad situation and you start asking them, how much do you bring in a month and how much do you take out? By the time you're just done with those calculations, you just like empty your pockets and everything, and you still owe. So the best thing to do for you to be able to live within your means and dream to get far, know how much you bring and know how much it goes out
and
every month.
I think a good video after this would be, how do you budget a paycheck?
Yeah.
Well, how would you? Because essentially what you want is your money to work for you. You don't want to keep working for your money.
Exactly.
So you want to get passive income.
Oh, yeah.
That's the key, is to generate passive income for yourself.
Because money is the worst master if you let it really, if you're working for money, but if you have money work for you, it is a great tool that can help you really to achieve all your potential. So that's the aim of teaching you this, to suffer for a little while you just, putting yourself together for a better come tomorrow.
So every dollar you have should be accounted. You order your dollar where to go.
Not the
tell it,
dollar
yeah,
order you what to
I
do
want
with
you to
it.
go here and
Mhm.
work this for me.
Exactly. My husband used to tell me, he tells me that every time he had, like extra money,
Oh
we
yeah.
always extra dollar or whatever, he always find a way to use it. And that's a temptation for all of us. Sometimes when you get like a promotion or job increase, the first thing in your mind is like, oh, I have to get that
Spend it.
thing that I have, I have been dreaming to have this, without like
And that,
knowing,
that's actually a really good point, because you can look back and people who have had $30,000, $20,000 increases are not financially better off because they've bought more stuff with their money. So the more you make, the more
you want to spend.
you want to spend, and that's where you have to learn to
budget everything,
your income and your expenses.
Yep.
And
yeah, the second tip after knowing your income and your expenses, it's really to track your expenses, because most of the time, all of us, especially ladies, I don't know about men, but ladies, when we go into the stores and the mall, and sometimes we just like want to go out with friends, or somebody tells you, hey, can we
or
go
buy
out?
your kids toys.
And you're just like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. So you end up really buying something that you didn't budget for it. And sometimes you buy stuff because you are being afraid to be called names by your friends, like, oh, you are stingy, you greedy, oh, and because you're trying to show off, you end up really buying something you were not planning,
Right.
and tracking your expenses. Sometimes you may find like a loophole somewhere that you should cut that expenses.
And then the third and final thing for today is separate your wants from needs. You may need a car, but you want a $40,000 car, right?
Yeah.
What we did, we got into a bad loan. We learned from that mistake, and we bought the next 2 cars with cash straight up, so we don't have any loan, nothing. And man, what a freedom that is. Car ended up breaking down and we still owed on it, like a couple thousand.
You have to fix it and you still owe. Exactly. So most of the time when we come here and share stuff, first of all, there are many stuff that we are learning from what we made as mistakes, and as we are learning new, like a financial literacy, and we want to share with other people. If you haven't trapped yourself into those kind of lifestyle,
There's a way out.
There's a way out. So there's something I have learned, like if you have, if you think you can afford like a 300 payments every month for a car you bought by loan for the next 12 months, why don't you save that and buy that cash? But sometimes because we want something so fast, you just think, I will do it. And you never know what can happen in the middle. So really,
or sacrifice luxury, just get
Exactly.
$1,000. Who cares if it gets you to point A and point B? All of this is only effective if you have a goal in mind.
Exactly.
And what you want to do with your life.
I love to say this. I didn't come up with that quote, but when the purpose of your life is not known, you always ending abusing your life, because as he said, if you don't have a goal, you keep living that life. But if you have a goal, you know that, I can get $2,000 a car because I can afford it. It's used. As long as it can take me to point A and B and save, then I can buy a decent car within 2 or 3 years down the road.
And plus, you have a goal. So
Exactly.
you know this is temporary. So just swallow your pride temporarily. And in the end, you can have those things.
And remember, your life is your own.
Right.
Own. It's not everybody. You're not here to please people, because we cannot be pleased.
Because
it doesn't happen. So you can just leave what you. But when we talk about like a live within your means, we're not saying you should always be the bottom. We're just telling you have a goal, know where you are going. These tips will help you to cut unnecessary expenses, to separate from what you want and from what you need, and focus the needs and the ones save, so that tomorrow you can live that life you always wanted. So I hope next time we're gonna talk about more tips or the ways of to make your dollar work for you,
Yeah.
not you work for money. Because
Make
remember,
your dollar accountable.
money is the worst master if you
Yeah.
let it use you or work for it. This guy got so sick, he for a while, I thought he was dying on me, and
Yes, she was so happy. She really wanted me to go.
shut up. This guy got so sick, and then here he is making fun of me that I was celebrating because I was gonna get myself a new guy. So here he is. So, but
Stuck with me.
so we thank God for, the health we have, but we are back again. And thank you so much for watching. Share this video and share the tips you have and subscribe. Thank you so much.
We love you guys.